Hi everyone. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Very nice. We doing Parashat Beshalach, and for this parasha, I want to start with a cute story. There was this very smart dog, okay? And once he comes to a butchery, and the butcher sees him. A dog gets inside the butchery, so he tries to chase him away. And he goes, but he comes back. He goes and he comes back. And then he realized that this dog in his mouth has a note. He comes to this dog, he takes out this note, and he sees an order. Somebody wrote to the butcher a request. Please, can you send me with my dog some sausages, one lamb rib, whatever, an order. He was so shocked, he was surprised. Such a smart dog. And then he sees in his mouth also a bill, he pays for the dog, for the things that, for the order. Fine, he prepared him all his order, and he puts it in a bag and gives it to the dog. The dog takes this bag and he runs out of his store. He comes to the street, he waits for the traffic light until he changes. Once he changes to walk, to green, he crosses the street, he goes to the other side, he looks for the bus stop, the butcher was very curious. Where is this dog and how smart it is? So he didn't mind, he didn't have customers. He closed up his store, his butchery, and he went after this dog. He comes to this bus stop. He sees that the dog checks the schedule of the buses. One bus comes, he doesn't go on because it's not the right one. Another one he doesn't. And on the third one he goes on this bus. He sits there for a while until this bus comes to the suburb of this town. And then he's ready to go out, this dog. When it comes to a certain stop, he goes down this dog, and this butcher comes after him. He goes and goes and goes until he reaches a certain house, and over there, as he reaches the house, he leaves this bag next to the steps, and he starts barking, he starts knocking the door, no response. He goes to the window, he tries to bang his head on it, no response. He comes back to the front door, and then somebody opens the door. His owner, big guy, he opens the door, and once he sees the dog, he starts hitting him. So the butcher is like, hey, it's the first time I see this smart dog. He's a genius. I saw how he came, how he took the order, how he came back. Why are you hitting him? He says, you think that he's smart? You think that he's genius? He forgot his keys.
Oh my God.
Sometimes we look like this owner of this dog. Complain for no reason. Instead of appreciating and say thanks, we complain. In the parasha, there's a lot of subjects in the parasha. What exactly happened? A beautiful parasha. But we see a certain type of behavior. Okay? And this is what I want to speak about. So they left Egypt. Okay? They come to Yam Suf. And over there, they don't know what to do. The Egyptians are chasing after them. What should they do exactly? They don't know what to do. They start crying. They don't know what to do. And in a way, it's understandable. Their life is in danger. And they have to understand, they just came out of Egypt. For the past hundreds of years that they were slaves in Egypt. They lived in slavery. And somebody that lives in slavery, it's very hard for him to come up to protect himself, because slaves usually, they do whatever people tell them to do, whatever the king, whatever Pharaoh told them to do, them. So they're not They're not standing for themselves. They don't believe in themselves. They don't even have a strength to protect their own children. So they're like hopeless and helpless, looking at Moshe, what should we do? And Ibn Ezra explains that this mentality of slavery that they had over there, okay, they couldn't believe in themselves that they could get up, that they could protect their children, that they could do something with themselves. Sometimes in life we also get into this situation. Do we believe in ourselves? You think Rabbi Tzadok HaKohen Lublin says, the same way that man has to have faith in Hashem, to believe Hashem, so he has to have faith in himself. I could do it. I could do it. Okay? And you sometimes say to yourself, what do you want from me? I cannot do it. I don't know. I'm not that religious. Why do I have to change? Why do I have to make the difference? Okay? And why do I have to work on my qualities? Why do I have to work on my anger? Let my husband work on his being stubborn or being lazy or stuff like that. Rav Zusha, he was hurrying once to a certain meeting, and somebody sees him in the street and asks him, hey, please, can you help me? Can you help me carry these loads and put it on my carriage? I need help. So Rav Zusha says, I can't, I'm in a hurry, I have to run, I have an appointment, I can't. So he calls him from distance and cries out, you can't or you don't want? If you want, you can. Rav Zusha, he was thinking about this later, and he thought, how right is this man? When we say I can't, what exactly I mean? And we convince ourselves that we cannot do it because it helps us not to feel guilty about certain things, about not changing ourselves, not working on our qualities, and the fact that we don't want either to help somebody or to make the effort to get out of our way, to refer to somebody and things like that. There was usually when people come out from town to town with a circus, so sometimes they make there's this elephant over there, huge animal, right? The elephant, and very interesting. This elephant is hooked, is tied to a small nail, small piece of wood, small pin, nothing special. You think to yourself, a huge animal, can he just untie himself and run away? He doesn't have to obey, he doesn't have to stay there, he doesn't have to perform, he doesn't have to do all the things that the owner of the circus tells him to do. And yet, he doesn't run away. Why doesn't run away, this elephant? Because from young age, when he was a baby, he was already tied to this kind of a pin or piece of wood. So yes, in the beginning, when he was young, he was trying to untie himself. He was trying to pull, he was trying to push, he was sweating out, he was trying, and he couldn't. And the more he stayed there, the older he became, he gave up on this. Never considered retrying his strength again, retrying to see if he can do it. He became helpless and believed that I cannot do it. Such a huge animal, it's amazing to see how people put all kind of thoughts in their mind. And so we left Egypt. Egypt, in Hebrew we say Mitzrayim. It's interesting. It's the only language that we say Mitzrayim is Hebrew. Usually it's Egypt, right? What is Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim in Hebrew is Meitzarim. Meitzar is a small, narrow place that you go inside, and you think, I'm such in a narrow place and I cannot get out. Many times, okay, so we left Egypt, but did we take Egypt out of us? That's the question. And taking Egypt out of us means, when we were in Egypt, we were in slavery. We were slaves, okay? Now, in a way, we're free people. Are we? Many times people, they enslave themselves to all kind of materialistic things. You say to yourself, I cannot without an iPhone. If my husband or me won't buy this iPhone, I'm zero. What my friends are going to think about this? And when people have this iPhone, it's unbelievable. They're hooked to it. They cannot without. They go to sleep with it. They get up with this. They go to the bathroom with this. They do everything with this. Cannot let go. This is shiur. This is enslaving yourself to materialistic things. When sometimes today, let's say, it would be Facebook or any kind of way that people try to connect themselves to, you feel that if you are not in the system, that you are not hooked, like all your friends, like all your family, you're nothing, you're zero, and you try to do all kind of things just to be in it. You think that if you won't have the newest model of, I don't know, car, BMW or Lexus, no? So you're not important. You think that if you won't go once a year to this vacation, like your cousins do, like your, I don't know, friends do, you won't go to this vacation, to this, I don't know where, to the islands, to I don't know, so you're nothing. You think that if you're not going to buy a house in a certain location, you think that if you're not going to have a certain job, if you're not going to all kind of things that we enslave ourselves into, and so to get out of Egypt, okay, it means to be free. To be free people means don't tie yourself so much into these materialistic things. You need to be free. Right? So, okay, so they left Egypt. Now they're coming next to Yam Suf. It was so hard. Hashem promised Moshe, once you're going to get there, Bnei Israel ya'avru, they will pass b'charava. It's like they will walk on land. They will not walk in water. They will not jump. Nothing is going to, they will not get wet. And they come there, and the sea is not waiting, separated already for them. Nothing. They have to go in and... זה נקרא קריעת ים סוף, splitting of the ים סוף is so hard. They say, קשה פרנסתו של אדם כקריעת ים סוף. The parnasa of people usually very, very hard, like קריעת ים סוף. And then it says also about the זיווג. קשה זיווגו של אדם כקריעת ים סוף. It's very hard to find your soulmate. Let's talk a little bit about parnasa. Happens many times in life that you have a certain, all of a sudden, huge expense that you didn't expect it, okay? Or a child has to go off as an emergency to the dentist to take care of his teeth, or some kind of a big purchase that you had to, or all kind of things that you had, and you think to yourself, where am I going to pay it from? How am I going to do it? It's so hard. As is, we have to pay for the mortgage, we have to pay for the insurance, we have to pay for the tuition, we have to pay the, and how in the world will I be able to cover this, right? But you see that Parnasa, kasher zivugo, Parnasa is from heaven. And like was a miracle done in Yam Suf, okay? So all the concept of Parnasa is a whole big miracle. I don't know, whoever remember living in Russia. We left Russia, okay? Till now, you go to the stores in Russia, people wait on long, long lines to get bread, to get sugar, to get very important, essential things. We're not talking about diamonds. How come Russia is such a big country, such a powerful country, so much minerals in Russia? You can find their gold, you can find their diamonds, you can find their, okay, they have coal mines, they have all kind of things over there, gas and wheat fields. Ukraine is full with wheat. And how come this huge country, okay, people cannot buy even bread there without waiting on lines? Deficit, like you said. Go to Israel. No minerals in the land of Israel. No golds, no diamonds, no gas, no coals, no nothing. And Baruch Hashem, no lines. Go to the stores, huge stores. See, you can have there anything you want, variety, from America, from Europe, from other countries, whatever you want. You just name it, they have it. All kind of cheese, all kind of... I don't have to tell you, Baruch Hashem, everything is there. How come? Religious people, sometimes the husband doesn't work. The woman is the one that supports. Baruch Hashem, children, tuition, clothing, food. I don't say it's easy, it's not easy. But Hashem takes care of these things. This is kasher zivugo shel adam kikrat Yam Suf. I'm sorry, not the zivug, the Parnasa. Thank you. So, whenever there is this nes, a miracle, you don't ask questions because it's a miracle.
Just say thank you.
It says, במסכת פסחים, it says there are 7 things that are hidden from human beings. People don't know. Some of them are the day of the death, when he's going to die, nobody knows. The time of redemption, nobody knows. People don't know what other people think about them. They don't know what's in other people's heart. Okay? And then it says, "En adam yodea b'meh mistaker." People don't know how they will earn their money. They have no idea of knowing how they... Ask people. You studied, let's say, a certain thing. You thought you're going to find a job in this. All of a sudden, you find some different kind of field, thing that you didn't expect to do. You didn't know that you're going to do it. All of a sudden, you do something else completely. People that were sure that they will find a job because they let's say a lawyer, or let's say a diamond dealer, or let's say a physical therapist. I don't know. You were sure that you're going to find a job in, and all of a sudden it's so hard. Things don't go right. It's hard. It's not. So this widow comes to one of the Admorim of Sadigua, and she comes and she cries to him and she tells, "Rabbi, my husband passed away. What should we do now? Who's going to help us? I have little kids. So the rabbi said, "Don't worry, Hashem is merciful on widows and orphans. Hashem will take care of you. Don't worry, don't worry." She insists, "No, Rabbi, you have to promise me that I'll find a treasure." The rabbi said, "Don't tell Hashem how to help you. I'm sure He has other ways how to take care of you." So as she debates and argues with the rabbi, meanwhile, a Gentile knocks on her door at a house. and her oldest son answers the door. And he's like, "Hi, where's your daddy?" He says, "He's in heaven." "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Listen, a while ago I bought here some wine, and it was so good, and I want to buy again this wine. My daughter gets married, and I need to make a big party, and I need..." He's like, "We don't have any wines." He says, "No, you have to. You go and check. Let's go to the basement. I want to check what you have." They go down to the basement. Some barrels are empty, some are full. "So what is this? What's in these barrels?" "Oh, it's just some water that we need to clean the other barrels with. Barrels of wine have leftovers of all kind of yeast and stuff. We just wash these barrels and clean with them." He tastes it and he likes it. He says, yeah, that's what I was looking for. I'll buy everything." He says, "What are you talking about?" "No, it's not." And he says, yeah, I know, you're shrewd, you're already a merchant, I'll pay you as much as you want." He gives him, I don't know how much money. He takes all these barrels. So as they come later to the rabbi and inform him exactly what kind of miracle they had, the rabbi said, "I'm sure you had so much ideas to Hashem. You didn't think about this idea, right?" So Hashem has his ways how to help us with the parnasa. It's just that, we have to have full trust. And okay, so this is parnasa. Zivugim is the same thing. So many times people in a way are stuck. It's hard for them to find the shiur, the right one. And they're trying this way and they're trying that way. And people that it seems to you like they're so far, like they have nothing in common. How did this shiur happen? They're so far in their mentality, in their background, in their habits, in their nature, in their, I don't know, everything is so distant, so different. It's not the same, but shidduch mishamayim, we have no saying in this. And when things needs to happen, they happen. But many times, once Baruch Hashem, shidduch is done, and people get married, and you were trying to work so hard to find your soulmate, how easy sometimes people give up on the relationship. You can say, "I believed in him, I trusted him, I thought, I had expectation," but you start having complainings about, "I thought, I believed, how much you prayed before, how much you decided you're going to finish Tehillim, you decide you're making a Parashat Chala, you're reading Perek Shira, you're going to take upon yourself this mitzvah, you're going to pray every day, you're going to go to shiurim, Once you got this gift from heaven, Hashem gave you this, you're so easy on criticizing and complaining and disconnecting emotionally. So I'm not talking, God forbid, about divorce, but you don't share with him anymore, you kind of disengage. You're like on your own. Oh, he's the one that needs to provide, and why? Why we're so easy in giving up on this thing after we tried so much to get it? When people criticize, criticism kills everything. It's very bad, and we tend to do it. We get used to do it, and it's something that we have to be very, very careful with this. You say about your husband, let's say, if he comments on the way that you cook, on the taste of your food, if he comments, let's say, how to help you, how to make the laundry cleaner, or any of those, so you say to yourself, why do you interfere in things that are not nothing to do with you? If he doesn't say anything about your food, if he doesn't comment about how the laundry came so clean or whatever, so then you say to yourself, you're ungrateful, you don't say anything to me, So any way he's going to act, you don't approve it, you don't like it. Let's say he keeps a very good connection with his parents. So you may say, oh, he's a very babyish, like too much connected, too much in touch. What is this? If he doesn't, if he's not a person that is so connected to family, to relatives, you say, oh, he's not family oriented. He's not. He's like, if he is, for example, all day long in the computer. So you say, let's say, he's not enough religious for me. If he doesn't talk to you, doesn't have a conversation with you, well, things that are secular, nothing to do with. So then you say he's spacing out. He doesn't know how to communicate. If, for example, he doesn't know how to drill a hole, to put a nail inside, or you say to yourself, oh, he has two lefty hands, he doesn't know. And if he is a person that likes to fix things, you say to yourself, oh, you're just a waste. Like, why do you keep doing all these things? Why didn't you become an engineer or something like that? If you have a job and you're working outside the house, you think that you're smart, you're very talented, and you allow yourself to control him, to judge him. If you stay home and you don't work, meaning you're working a lot at home, but you're staying home, you become very bitter. And all your bitterness, you drain, and it's all coming towards him. Why you're like this, why you're like that, why you're... And you check him with a magnifying glass, everything that he does. Like, so he forgot to buy you something. Sometimes you think, oh, it's in purpose. He forgot this. If he went first, you start imagining things and create a whole thing. So don't complain about things. Usually you're not willing to work hard to change. So what's the idea? Complaining. Many people, they complain, but they don't do anything about this. What's the purpose of complaining though? There was this couple that moved to a very quiet neighborhood, okay? And so the first day, the lady sees how her neighbor hanging out some laundry. She looks at this and she tells her husband, look at her laundry, so dirty, she doesn't know how to clean it. Maybe I should offer her, better detergent, cleaning soap, something. I should go and tell her, teach her maybe. Second day, third day, every day she comments to her husband that this neighbor doesn't know how to clean her laundry. A month later, she gets up in the morning and she sees that the laundry is clean. She tells her husband, the neighbor probably, she learned, how to do it the right way, or another neighbor came and taught her, or she bought a new detergent or something. The husband is, no, I got up early in the morning and I cleaned our windows. Okay, so it all depends on the way that we look at things and the way that we look at reality. So before we criticize, it's better to find out first, is our heart clean? If our heart clean, we can feel the other person's heart. We can maybe love better. We can care more. This was the first complaint. Second was, so they saw how Hashem made so many miracles in Yam Suf, right? What you're supposed to feel. There was this rabbi that said, it's a famous thing that they say that a maid saw in the sea מה שיחזקאל הנביא didn't see, the prophet Yechezkel didn't see. So the people, Hashem showed them prophecy, showed them they became to a very, very high level. And then he said, Admor Mikotsk said that the Shifcha stayed a Shifcha. She stayed a maid. And Yechezkel HaNavi stayed a Yechezkel HaNavi. Because as high they got, they dropped very fast from there. They walk for 3 days and there's no water. They walk in the desert, in the wilderness, and there's no water. So it's understandable when people, they walk, the kids, family, for 3 days, they want water, they complain, hello, we need water. And Ibn Ezra says that they had water, enough, but they didn't know when they will get water tomorrow. If they will, that was their complaint, says the Ibn Ezra. And so they got to Mara. Mara is a place that they had water, but the water were bitter, not sweet, bitter water. Again, Rabbi Mikotsk says, it's not that the water were bitter, they were bitter. Because you're bitter, everything for you is bad. So Hashem tells Moshe, take a wood, take a tree, throw it to the water, and the water will become sweet. How come when you take a tree that is bitter, it's not sweet, and you throw it to bitter water, all of a sudden the water becomes sweet? Okay, a miracle. What does Hashem show us over here? Bnei Israel, instead of asking Hashem or Moshe, please have mercy, find for us water, they start screaming, we need water, we didn't come here to die. So,
is it everybody that spoke that way, or there was certain people
groups?
The groups, so there was groups.
Okay, so most people, I don't know, people, that doesn't say about this specific thing. About other things it does say, which group said that, which group said that. Here it doesn't say. So, so whenever you have no motivation to do something, so it's very, very hard. It says that after they saw all the miracles and the Egyptians died, they collected all the spoils, all whatever the Egyptians left over there, they took it, lots of golds, lots of jewelry, they took with them. Usually people take to war all their best stuff. They took it with them, and Jewish people became very heavy. They were holding, carrying all these loads of golds and diamonds and important things that they collected. All of a sudden their view became different. All of a sudden, what's going to be with our belongings? What's going to be? I'll ask you something. Whenever you have money, does it make you happier? We don't see it. We don't see that the fact that they got so much money all of a sudden made them happy. So what's the answer for that? It says, En ma'im ela Torah. You want water? I'll give you Torah. It says, Sham samlo chok u'mishpat. This is when Hashem told Moshe, now you teach them laws. Make them busy. Laws of Shabbat, laws of Paraduma, all kind of other laws, make them busy because they're talking nonsense. In a little town, in a little village, there was a woman, a very poor woman, that lived very poor life. And she was alone. Her son immigrated to the United States and stayed alone there. So they were writing letters back and forth for several months already. She didn't hear anything from him. So she was illiterate. She didn't know how to read and write. So she goes to a woman that knows how to read and write, and she asks her, please, can you write a letter to my son? I want to know what's happening to him. So she dictates her this letter. What does she write her? She tells her, oh, dear son, I didn't hear from you for a while, and I'm so sorry. I hope everything is okay with you. By us, the winter is very difficult, she tells him. The house is so cold, and the strong cold wind goes through all the cracks, all the holes in the house. But I managed to cover it with all kind of old garments that I have at home. Food-wise, I could afford myself to buy a 1-day-old bread. I cannot buy fresh bread. 1 day old, it's cheaper. I can afford myself because food became very, very expensive recently. And regarding my job, I still work as a house cleaner by people's home. And it's good that in my old age I can still do this hard work. So tell me how you are. I'm missing you. Love, Mom. She asked the lady to read it to her. The lady was so upset at this boy that neglects his mother, and she wrote something like that. She says, "Dear son, what's wrong with you? Why didn't you write me for several months? I'm worried about you." And she starts saying, "The conditions here is, I cannot bear it anymore. The icy wind gets into the house through the cracks of the walls, and I'm able to cover it with some rugs that I have at home, some old things that I don't need. And I cannot afford myself to buy normal food. I have to go and buy all 1-day-old breads. In my age, I still have to bend myself and go to people's home and scrub the floors and clean, and all this I do to survive. And this is the kind of life I have here, as you probably enjoy your life in America." Love, Mom. So she reads it to her, and this lady, she hears what she tells her. She got what she said, and she's like, "Oi, I didn't know. I never knew my life is so hard. I realized I suffer so much." Right? So this is not always you have to change the conditions. Many times it's just changing the outlook of things and the perspective, and that's enough. So this was the second complaint that we're talking about.